All right, so we're gonna start out on the second part of this video. Um, Continuing where we left off with Circuitry Harmony, which is an AI song that we generated on suno.com. Broke it up into stems and all that good stuff, found the BPM, and we went the quick and dirty route. We didn't put any original lyrics in there or anything, just prompted it with like an idea of a thing and had it generate a thing. Again, I want to start this out just by saying the goal here is not to demonstrate something that's replacing songwriting at all. This is just showing you how this thing works, and doing actual songwriting and then feeding it that is a totally different way to work with it, and it does a beautiful job with that as well. But I encourage everyone, you'll hear these lyrics are slightly cheesy. They're a little like, it's a little melodically dramatic, even though we chose the cooler version rather than the more dramatic version that it generated out of the two. But yeah, it's just to show you how this thing works and like ways that you could play with it and interact with it. So if you were to pretend to have used our own original lyrics, great, more holistic, more human. Again, the more human input, the better. And structurally, I'm not going to mess with anything because I think this works really well as a song. You know, it functions the way that this thing needs to function to demonstrate its ability. What I want to show is just how we can do some vocal production things, some instrumentation stuff, things that came to mind for me right out the gate just with this rhythm that's in this thing. Simple guitar chugs, maybe some bassy things, maybe some weird synthy things. Who knows? We'll just see what happens. But yeah, I like the organic way of going about these videos so far, because if I script them and I try to get ahead of where things could go naturally during a normal creative process, it wouldn't feel right. So yeah, we're just gonna see what happens. And for starters, I think last time I demonstrated the ability to isolate each of these elements. Right now, I'm just gonna let them play through, how they normally would, and not remove anything entirely, just kind of look to round things out more than anything really. Just making sure real quick that my audio settings are right. Yeah. And there's a little bit of a delay, so I'm gonna see, this is gonna be a live trial by fire with this thing. Just see how it feels to sing into something that has delay. My ears are so sensitive, even when I'm tracking in a normal Logic session that's not ran through ScreenFlow, there's even the tiniest little bit of latency. I prefer to monitor through Universal Audio's console because there's like no delay in here. Pretty much no delay. Like my ear can't pick it up, and my ear seems to be so futzy with what it hears. If there's a slight, barely detectable, imperfect thing of any kind, let alone a bit of a delay in what I'm singing or whatever, I just fall off. I feel like, I'm really irked, and like I have to take my headphones off, just sing it dry without hearing myself so it doesn't affect me and all that, which I guess is something that artists do, but I think they do that partly because of that delay thing. Anyway, don't need to ramble about that. That probably is another video. But yeah, let's check this out real quick. I'm going to see what the key of the song is in, and then I'll show you guys the settings that I use on my channel strip where I've got this microphone going into. It's the same one that I'm using for the talking for this video. I'm going to be using that to track with. Another day I'll go into using a nicer, condenser mic, but I mean, this is equivalent to like an SM7B, which is a very tried and true mic. I mean, I think Michael Jackson recorded Thriller on that microphone, so if it works for him, a similar equivalent works for me. And UA makes the best stuff. Universal Audio makes the best stuff, in my opinion, for the value. The price of this thing, and then its versatility. It's got plugins, or the software that Universal Audio makes has plugins that allow you to make this microphone be a few different microphones, and they have a couple of others that do the same thing. That'll be a different video, but just to show you one condenser microphone, this guy, they call it their SC1. This thing, I think, is $400. It might be $500 or whatever. The point is, it's negligible compared to what it's capable of emulating 100% accurately. I think anyone who says it's not 100% is just trying to like get off on the fact that they spent a lot of money on a vintage piece of gear, but that $400 or $500 whatever microphone can sound like a U87, which is I don't even know how many thousands of dollars. C800 Sony, which is $10,000. Telefunken, I think 251. Um, Sorry if I messed up any of those model numbers, but the point is, it's $400 gets you a mic cabinet worth tens of thousands. So pretty cool stuff. And I like the way it looks. Looks clean and simple. The version of that SE1 that's like fancier, it's got a stereo configuration, more microphone options and stuff. Their Sphere microphone is amazing. Anyway, this all goes back to vocal stuff. There are things that you hear with condenser microphones that you don't hear with a dynamic microphone like this one. And yeah, that'll have to be another video because that goes deep. But like, I want to hear every little bit of detail in a vocal most of the time. When it's my own and when it's for the sake of this thing, or if it's something that's meant to sound vintage or a little rough or even hip hop or something where it's not necessarily as about the tone of the vocal as it is about an attitude and a feeling. I don't mind using something like this. It's so convenient. Noise is easier to manage. Doesn't pick up on every little tiny thing. Right now, my laundry machine isn't going. So I could have probably used a condenser microphone, but if there's any noise that trickles through from outside or whatever, I don't want to have to use a XVox booth or something. You'll see what that is at some point too, because I'll show how helpful that is. That's what I have my fancy microphone enclosed in to prevent noise, and it insulates really well. Anyway, let's figure out what key this thing is in, and then we'll set the auto tune, because God knows my voice needs it, or at least I have to hear myself sounding really good out the box. And it serves as a great starting point for any vocalist. I think the things I'm going to show you, and we'll build it out from scratch. Like I said, I'm not using a template or anything. Just going to build it out, from the get-go with no preset anything, where you'll have every step of what I do to get to a tone that I'm very happy with consistently. So let's check this guy out again with fresh ears.
Wires hum, they sing so bright, a dance of data in the night. We build the bridge, we take the chance, in metal hands a fragile trance. Mistakes we've made, lessons we burn, together we fall.
It sounds like it's in B. So let's see. Or let's be. That's funny. Dude, the dad jokes are gonna be bad, and I'm not sorry about it. So in Universal Audio's console, on each channel strip, you could have a few different plugins. What I use is this thing called XVox, which gets rid of all external noise. It's so good. You can see what it's doing. See, when it's quiet, it makes sure to dip everything out. And then when it picks up on a signal that's worth taking it in, I have the attenuation up all the way, which means it's like relentlessly cutting out anything that's not right in front of it. And then ambiance, the amount of like room noise that's in the equation, also getting cut out. And there's a separate function for just the room's noise if you wanted to use it for that. Mostly, say you're in, I don't know, a really echoey space. Mine's not. It's treated decently well. I've got some like acoustic panels up and stuff that also look kind of nice aesthetically. And then I've got a compressor on here. This is just a, I think it's a 1176. Yeah, it's a 1176 emulation, but it does what the hardware does. Again, don't need a big box here. I'm just trying to keep things clean and simple, I respect the analog users, but again, this is one of those things where I'm not about to go spend thousands of dollars on stuff that takes up space, is heavy, draws more power. No, thank you. I'd rather click a few buttons. And as you can see here, like when I am talking, there's a little bit of compression happening. I just leave it, the ratio is at 4. And I don't want to get too into these technical things because there are other people who explain this much better than I do, I'm sure. Slightly fast attack and release times just because I want it to breathe pretty dynamically. but it gets, you know, if I go woo, it'll make sure I'm not getting too dynamically outside of the box. It's probably a little more squashed than it should be for a properly recorded vocal, but just keeps it nice and contained and consistent. You'll see the waveforms as we go. And then, like I said, this is auto-tune. It is the reason why certain vocals to me just sound nice and nicer than they normally would if you didn't use it. And I can't hear what I sound like through it right now. Let me turn off my monitors, but I'm just going to make sure that this key sounds right. If I had my monitors on, I'd get feedback through these speakers that are going to be playing the audio from the track that we're using. So I'll turn myself up in this console, like I said, I like to do for no latency. And that actually might make it bearable. I'll give myself some reverb. Ooh, ooh. And it's a lot of reverb, but it helps me feel less shy. And let's check that that's the right key. It could be B minor.
Wires hum, they sing so bright. A dance of data in the night.
Dance of data in the night.
We build the bridge, we take the chance. In metal hands of fragile trance. Mistakes we've made, lessons we burn. Together we fall, together we learn. Growing pains carved into steel. A union's birth, a bond to heal. Symbiotic rhythms pulse in the air. Human hearts encoded care. Side by side through the spark and strain. Harmony found in electric veins.
Okay, cool. So we'll see if I end up keeping this as the... That's a lot of reverb. We'll see if we end up keeping this as the thing that has no delay that I can listen to. So far, Logic doesn't sound like it's got a delay to it when I hit play. But you'll see what I mean with this ScreenFlow audio thing. Sometimes there's a bit of a delay and it drives me nuts. Right now I'm running my mic channel into input 2, just in case this is helpful for anyone who's new to this. In your interface, whatever type you have, you're just assigning the same channel for the audio to the one that you're using, that your microphone's plugged into. Most people probably by default will be using one. That's just where my guitar is plugged into, because that's what I play more often than I play more often than I sing. And then the second channel is where my vocals are coming through. So when we input this here, is there a delay? Yeah, hear that? There's like a little bit of a delay, and that is enough for me to notice. Let's try with low latency monitoring. One day this stuff will not be an issue. Test, it's still, see it? Yeah, that's just what we're gonna have to live with. So I'll track it through here, and then later we'll mix it, but we'll just be hearing the vocal through the console, and that'll be a decent workaround so that we don't have latency. See, the rant that I had at the beginning of the video hopefully makes some sense now. I'm not just complaining. But yeah, let's call this vocals. And maybe we'll just do harmonies, because I don't need to be replacing this guy's lead. I'm just trying to show you guys how to get a good vocal sound, and then imagining what you'd be doing if it wasn't harmonies. Could even be just like octaves, you know. And then I'll show you kind of how I go about layering things and mixing them. The reason why I pulled up the lyrics is because we didn't write them. Suno did. And I want to have this up in front of me. Save time. Don't have to memorize it. But probably won't do the whole song, obviously. But, you know, we'll maybe do up to the first chorus or something, if that. And just see how things start shaping up with just vocals first. And then we'll see about playing with different instruments and things. So yeah, in Logic, once you've got your audio track ready to go, I found this plugin that I love that has great sounds, and maybe I'll endure the delay for a moment just to show you what this thing does. This company called Nuro Audio makes this plugin suite that runs as one standalone thing that includes all the effects really that you need to get up and running again quickly. Don't have to overthink or do much. And I always pick the mono to stereo setting because it then turns any delay effects or reverb effects into things that have a stereo width to them rather than it being, a mono. And even though this is one channel of audio going in, it's nice to feel a bigger space breathe while you're doing this. So let's see what this sounds like if I turn off the console and start monitoring through Logic through these presets or effect tweaks while we make some adjustments to get a sound that we like. Hopefully the delay is not too bad, and if it is, we'll just go back to this, and then we'll listen afterward through the plugin. All right, so that's totally dry, and the delay is terrible. I might just take a headphone off. No, because while we're tracking, it will be out of time, and that won't sound good. But here's like what they call classic vocal strip. That got way loud. Apologies. But there's, some reverb on it, some delay. The reason we set the delay in the beginning is because, the reason we set the tempo in the beginning is because delays and effects that are sunk to the tempo should be sunk to the right tempo of the song. So if you were to just drag those stems in there, the mix in there before making the stems, you'd be set to 120 BPM by default, which isn't too far off for this song, but it is far off for, say you had it do some like high energy 174 BPM punk thing or a like lower energy R&B 90 BPM thing, you'd be way off. So if you're setting your delay rate to like a quarter note or eighth note or whatever, you want it to be true to the song's rhythm and tempo, because especially with something that's got a sense of rhythm and pace to it, that's consistent and kind of like keeps you moving, you want the delays to be working in sync with that. I'm sure that was the weirdest gesture that I just did, but enjoy. So this is gonna drive me crazy if I hear this like this while I'm tracking. I think the classic vocal strip might work for now. I'll just show you a couple others. Super dry, this is like, to me, a great setting for rap or something where you just need to hear like punchy, clear vocals cut through. Or if you're, a lot of pop music, I guess these days uses this sort of tonality. And then it's supplemented with things behind it that have more wetness to it. And then there's this guy who's really ambient, enhanced lead. Woo! And like the further you are from the mic, the more it sounds like you're not the lead. You could do background vocals with this and it sounds so nice. And then if you're way up here, you got kind of like it ducks automatically. The reverb gets out of the way of the dry signal, and then it comes in gradually after your dry signal has been delivered. Hear that? So there's just so many presets in this plugin, and it's so inexpensive. It's like if you were to buy a compressor, a harmonic coloring thing. Look at this. I mean, like you could choose different types of tonalities that you want. Just one function of this plugin. There's like the 4 different parameters in here. Space-wise, if you were to buy a bunch of individual reverbs, no, just use all these different options that you have in here. There's short plate reverbs, chambers, room sounds, just like a regular room, digital vibrant plate that's not short, dark hall, spooky, Infiniverse, a little dramatic. Bright Hall, I think, is what was on it in the beginning. This is crazy. And then, these effects are cool as hell, too. Tape saturation, like the little bit of a vintage treatment. Chorus just makes it sound a bit wide and kind of like... There's ways to use this. We'll get into it in another video, I'm sure. Maybe this one, but I don't think so. We're not going to spend that much time on it. Anyway, I'm not promoting this plugin necessarily. I'm just showing you why I'm using it. It's great because it includes a lot of things, and it's inexpensive, and it makes things fast, which I'm all about, if you haven't figured that out already. So let's get rid of this delay situation. Has nothing to do with Logic, has nothing to do with that vocal plugin at all. It's all about ScreenFlow and being able to capture the video and the audio and all this stuff that I'm doing for these YouTube videos. So normally, if that wasn't the way that this was working, it would be delay-free and beautiful. So yeah, let's just see what happens with this. And apologies for my vocals, but you'll hear what I meant about being a bit of a chameleon. I'm gonna keep this simple, just do some like falsetto-y stuff. Again, keeping my headphones on so I could not have microphone feedback.
Wires hum, they sing so bright. A dance of data in the night. We build the bridge, we take the chance. In metal hands, a fragile trance.
I think that'll be enough for now. And we'll leave that one on the left side, and then we'll bring this new one in on the right side. Make sure this isn't too loud.
Wires hum, they sing so bright.
You get the idea. That works well enough. So what I like to do with harmonies is just do a left-right, and it's like, I think any pop producer probably says to do this, and it's not necessarily like a rule, but it sure helps to make things just instantly feel like, oh, cool, you know, like more immersive and polished and nice. So I'll try to replicate that as best as I can. Again, we're not going for perfect vocals. I'm demonstrating an idea.
Wires hum, they sing so bright. A dance of data in the night. We build the bridge, we take the chance. In metal hands, a fragile trance.
So I botched the timing on that third line. Whatever though, no big deal. You'll see it. We can wash this out. I'll show you one thing, I guess, that'll make this feel more purposeful. Maybe we can get rid of the reverb for now. A little bit anyway. Yeah. Here's how I would probably mix this. With vocals, like background vocals, I try to think of everything in layers like you're building a cake. I would send these guys to like a bus knowing that they're just kind of like filler background vocals, right? Because like I didn't spend a ton of time making them perfect, just adding in a bit of air and a higher placement. It's an octave higher, I guess. And I would just put them. I don't think you need to add compression. We've already got a compressor going in with the signal that I showed you with that 1176. And then what we did here, I just put this Valhalla vintage reverb or like their Valhalla plate or something. I feel like it's a good company to mention also. Valhalla DSP makes these beautiful sounding reverbs, and they make other things. Room emulators, stuff that just sounds nice, and it's used in a lot of pop music. I took Ryan Tedder's, it's called something different now, but he had a class where every track that he recorded vocals on or guitars or whatever, he was sending to Valhalla and like just adjusting the settings accordingly to make them sit differently, but depending on what the instrument register was. For vocals like these, where it needs to sound washy and stuff, I like this default setting, but the different modes they have in here, you know, you can have it be a concert hall, a bright hall, which gives a little bit more air, plate, room, chamber. Again, similar story to what's in that Nuro Audio XVox plugin, the guy that we're using on our main vocal chain. But this is additional, you know, and we're trying to make these guys not feel like they're quite so forward. We could do it within that plugin, but once a group of harmonies has been made, say it's not just falsettos, say you've got like a third, a fifth, a fourth, or like some cool counter melodies that you come up with just by improvising, that could be a whole other video, so I'll save that. But yeah, what I anticipate here is like we'll just feel this out, the dry and wet signal to be enough to set it back from the lead vocal and just fill out the space like we're envisioning it being filled out. 4 seconds is a bit long for reverb to decay. It starts getting a little muddy. And one thing to always use is this low cut. We don't need any low frequencies carrying over for longer than they need to be there in this reverb that we're creating a space in. So I cut out anything below 80 hertz, which is still mid-low, you know? So you get some of that low vocal information in there for these falsettos, and they don't have a ton of low information in there because the notes aren't that low to begin with. So if it feels cluttery, we'll adjust a little bit more, but should be fine. And yeah, the delay, decay time, I think I mentioned this in my first couple of videos, but I'm weird with numbers. 3.33 feels pretty good.
Wires hum, they sing so bright. A dance of data in the night. We build the bridge, we take the chance. In metal hands, a fragile trance.
One thing I encourage always is to try to clean up as you go. And any dead space in there, even though it might not look like or sound like there's much happening, there is information in there. And it all adds up really quickly, especially if you've got lots of different vocal layers happening at once. I'm just going to track a couple of things now because I don't feel as bad about those as I thought I was going to. I lowered the volume on that bus. I should create this. When you right click the bus channel that shows up here after you've sent your vocals to a bus, you could do this as a group. That's what I did, selecting them both. I'm trying to remember to say everything I'm doing as I'm doing it, anticipating that some people might not know. If you hold shift while you've selected one channel and then you click another channel, it will then select both. Or like if you were to click one and then hold shift and click one several away, it'll select a range of things. So yeah, hold shift, it selects both. It'll show you there in the mixing window also. If you hit X, that brings up the mixing window. And sorry if that ends up being redundant, but I find that stuff helpful to share because I take for granted what has become muscle memory, and it, anyway, over explaining. So yeah, when that bus shows up here, it also is something you can make show up in your arrangement window. And I just right click that track that shows up in the left side panel of Logic, hit create track, and then you'll see this aux2, that's the bus. So we could just call these backgrounds washy, ooh, puberty. And then I'll add another channel, and then we'll call this harmony B. And maybe we'll make this one more of a mid placement. And again, I'm going to start with the volume all the way down. I now know the timing relatively, well. Hopefully I won't mess it up as bad as I did before. Wires hum, they seem so bright, a dance of data in the night. I don't know. We'll see what happens. And worst case, we'll just scratch it and then, move on with our lives. But yeah, let's see.
Wires hum, they sing so bright. A dance of data in the night. We build the bridge, we take the chance. In metal hands, a fragile trance.
Not mad. So now to hear that, I raised the volume up of it in Logic and it'll sound nicer. I'm going to give myself some reverb again. That was a little dry. But you see what I mean? Like it's not difficult. It's just a matter of finding things that sound cool. And again, it helps so much to have that instrumentation and that other vocal there. And then if I chose to do a lead along with it, it would be fine. But I don't think we need to do that for this one, because I would also use the different microphone. That's probably a great, maybe third video. I guess we're going to maybe make this song our own. We'll see. Or at least demonstrate the idea of how you can make it your own. So yeah, let's do that one more time for the right side. I just duplicated the track. Again, a key command that's helpful is just push Command D and it duplicates a track. So I did that already. I'll get rid of that latest one.
Wires hum, they sing so bright. A dance of data in the night. We build the bridge, we take the chance. In metal hands, a fragile trance.
Cool. So moody. And I think that probably be enough for now. And I just want to show what it sounds like when you start adding some real instruments. So we'll move on from vocals after we settle in on this mix a little.
Wires hum, they sing so bright. A dance of data in the night.
Cleaning.
Build the bridge, we take the chance. In metal hands, a fragile trance. Mistake.
Nice. So I think you get the idea. And I'll lay down one double of his lead just so we have it while we're in this space. Maybe two, just so it fattens it a little bit and adds our own character to it. Again, it's just trying to use this thing as the tool that it's meant to be and get it away from being too much of a just AI thing, you know?
Wires hum, they sing so bright. A dance of data in the night. We build the bridge, we take the chance. In metal hands, a fragile trance.
Still messed up the timing a little. Oh, that's all good. And then we'll not unmute that yet because we'll mix that differently probably from our backgrounds.
Wires hum, they sing so bright. A dance of data in the night. We build the bridge, we take the chance. In metal hands, a fragile trance.
Cool. So yeah, I think we'll probably be done with vocals after this, and I'll keep them in with the backgrounds for now. We'll probably save the other stuff for the next video if we do end up getting into replacing his vocal or making it a duet situation beyond what this is.
Wires hum, they sing so bright. A dance of data in the night. We build the bridge, we take the chance. In metal hands, a fragile trance.
So cool. So yeah, I think we could shelve this here. Part of me does want to go deeper into it because now I'm like kind of hearing it and having fun with it. But I think I just want to get into some guitar stuff and show you some of that and also get out of these headphones. But there is a delay, and that's the one thing that's a bit of a hang up for me. Like I can't monitor guitar quite as well through the UA console because the guitar rig that I like to use is actually a plugin built into Logic. It's called Amplitube. And if I were to use this thing, I'd have to build out a rig in here, and it's just not the sound that I'm hearing for this. So maybe I will do that just to demonstrate what it could sound like. And maybe it would be a decent constriction to put on ourselves. And maybe I will end up liking it. Guitar and bass, let's see. We'll keep it super simple just to demonstrate the idea. I use the Fender 55 Tweed Deluxe because it's great for like playing a Strat and getting a nice, like, good bluesy sound out of that. I was envisioning a rock tone originally, but maybe we can go with this guy for now. And I'll get out my PRS Custom 24. I'll keep that volume down a little bit. I think now I can get out of monitoring this vocal thing. I can get out of headphones. Yeah, and then I just tuned this guy this morning, so it shouldn't be too out of tune, but I'm gonna tune it again anyway. Oh, there's some gain that's been applied to the input, which we do not need. You know, I don't want to dial in this tone here. We're going to try it through Logic. It's just, there's one setting, you'll see what I mean. Even if there's a little bit of delay, I'm sure it'll be fine. There's just one setting that's called, I think it's called Purple Floyd or something. Just this echoey, awesome preset in Amplitube. Oh, another company, I guess I got to mention, and I'll tag them in the description too. But yeah, IK Multimedia makes this plugin called Amplitube. There's a few different guitar plugins I have. This is just one that came to mind for this particular song. So many great presets in here, and like legendary amps and stuff. Just, it's so invaluable. Again, it's like having same situation with the mic locker thing, but with guitar cabinets. Purple Floyd, here we go. Make sure this is not picking up on the dry signal. Okay, cool. So let's see. This one, input's correct. This might be really loud, so we'll back that off a bit. I need to go into drop D for this B minor situation, but maybe we'll start. That'll be fun. I'll do a little whammy bar dive for the D. That's what she said. I'm not sure why there's so much. Oh, there we go. I had a little bit of a gain boost going on. I'll keep the click on for this just so that it keeps me rhythmically on time from the beginning, but just going to show you how this rounds out the sound a little bit from the digital AI just sound bed thing that the other instrumentation sounds like to me.
Wires hum, they sing so bright. A dance of
So you get the idea, and like we'll do that on the left side, and then we'll do the same thing as like what we did with the vocal harmonies, just double it up, and then afterward we can get rid of some of this like signal we're hearing as a hiss there. You could also quantize it, make it super perfect. You'll see these waveforms. They're very small, but you could see where they could be snapped to the grid, logical, read them, and you can set them to eighth notes, have them be like really nice and tight. But again, the human imperfection is nice too. So dynamically, that's already there. But tempo being locked in for something that's a little poppy always is nice. So we'll see what we think.
Wires hum, they sing so bright. A dance of data in the night. We build the bridge, we take the chance. In metal hands, a fragile trance. Mistakes we've made, lessons we burn, together we fall.
Anyway, you get the idea. Don't need to flesh out the whole thing. But if you've got a badass drummer, you can send this to, have them lay down some real drums. If you've got some key players as a backup vocalist or something, get the band together, but not, do it remotely. The way that things are right now, I go on Fiverr and I find people to play string parts, and I've got a couple of collaborators that I just love to work with because you don't have to spend the time and energy in the room with them setting things up, scheduling or whatever. They get to it when they get to it. They get paid. They send me the things I need. I incorporate it into the thing, keep moving. In the meantime, working on other things probably, and it's rad. So here's this quantized slightly. Like I said, I like things to be a little bit snappier, and I know my timing wasn't perfect just then. There's that delay that drives me a bit crazy. But when you select the audio channels and then you hit Q, Logic will quantize them, and its automatic selection is 16 notes. I think 8 notes is perfect. So we'll hear what this sounds like once it's been snapped to the grid a little bit better.
Wires hum, they sing so bright. A dance of data in the night. We build the bridge, we take the chance. In metal hands, a fragile trance. Mistakes we've made, lessons we burn, together we fall.
I started playing chords a little bit more outright at the end there as it was getting into the second half of the verse, or if they called it a pre-chorus, I'm not sure. What did AI call it? Yeah, still the second half of the verse, or I guess what it's calling verse 2. But yeah, I think, you get the point. We start supplementing the stuff that isn't human with human things, whoever the artist is, playing the things that they're able to play, singing the parts that they're going to be singing, and that's the intention of this tool, I think, in general. As nice as it is to hear something actualized instantly, it's about making it our own and then adding our voice to it and running with it. So yeah, I think that gets the point across. Again, kind of a nice way to introduce quickly some ways to track vocals well. Gain staging and all that is a deeper conversation we could have, but the way that you could see these waveforms translating, it's because I've got the microphone set up in a way where when I'm monitoring the signal, it goes to completely quiet. And then when I'm speaking, the compressor is doing a little bit of work, always. So it's always keeping things in a certain range. And that's set through this input and output here. Knowing how this hardware works, it's helpful for me in this ecosystem, Universal Audios, to know 53 decibels of gain on this microphone, the dynamic microphone that they make. Which is this model number? SD1. And then, that XVox thing, getting rid of all the outside noise, half the ambiance. this level of compression and these auto-tune settings, for me, half human, retune speed of about like 12. It's not middle, it's not fast, it's like more middle, but a little fast. Uh, Slightly natural, slightly not natural. I guess that goes with the theme, right, of what we're doing, which is funny. And then, yeah, monitoring with a little bit of a send of delays that I'm using here. I'm using Dreamverb and Capital Recording Studios. Dreamverb is a reverb, Capital is a room. And I think there's so many cool presets. And it's another video. God, yeah, it's all so deep if you go down each rabbit hole individually. But yeah, you can see here, the waveforms look good. Like the guitar thing, the input volume is so low and amplifiers pick up on, if I were to hit that thing hard, you'd see these waveforms, but I was just going dun, 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 dun. It wasn't about attitude. It was more about just adding human texture that's rhythmic and dynamic at the same time. Quiet in the beginning, right? Because you're going to later get louder, like I started to do over here when we got a little bit more expressive. You could see things. That was what came out. Who knows if that's what it'll be. But yeah, so for these vocals, with using this plugin, sending it to one bus, having them work as a group, they sound like this. Wires hum, they sing so bright. That's me. It sounds like me in the context of this song. And I think it helped to have him from the beginning because he set the tone. The lead is everything, the artist is everything, and it's all about facilitating that. So if I had written this for a different vocalist, I would have tried to vocalize things that expressed based on how I know their lead sounds. And yeah, we're working with the out the box, incredibly decent sounding vocal, and just trying to be true to it. So it's a unique confine to work within in its own right. And yeah, I think we might continue working on this and we might not. I think it's I don't know if I want to make this into a full song and get attached to it in that way. Because I think this demonstrates the point. We've got an instrument demonstrating what it could be when you enhance something like this, just with one instrument, let alone anticipating bringing in each of these components either supplemented or replaced by a real thing. That's the intention of this AI stuff, is what I'm saying. If you were to want to make AI music just for the sake of having new music to listen to, again, I feel like there's always something missing with it. Like there's just not, you don't feel, it doesn't grab me, I guess I should say, personally anyway. It doesn't feel like it's, something is missing. There's just not something that I connect to. The human emotional quality that could come from a real performance isn't there, at least quite yet. And knowing that you could adapt it to be your own. That's the other part of this, is just pushing it to become what it can be for you. And even though you hear someone else's voice first or whatever, some other instrumentation first, it's about the mechanics of the song being set up first, and then you go and make it your own. That's what, to reiterate, this whole process is about. It's not about replacing the human part at all. It's about replacing the things that are more kind of, mechanical, logistical, and even some technical setting levels. Blending things at volume levels that work well out the box is a very valuable time-saving tool. I would imagine even if I were to mute all these parts right now, vocally, the lead being there helped a lot before, and maybe now it's not as necessary. Wires hum, they sing so bright. A dance of data in the night. We build the bridge, we take the chance. You get the idea. You can make this whatever you want it to be. At the end of the day, even if you were to take this away from the tempo that it's tied to, make it into something slower or more of a more swung, and I don't know. It's all stuff that could be changed. It's just got the initial thing out, which to me is the biggest slug in the process. It's getting the skeleton laid down. So yeah, I hate to sound like I'm trying to sell someone on something right now, but it's partly in defense of humanity and defensive intention. I'm not at all advocating for the replacement of what we do as producers, artists, singers. All the above are indispensable, is what I'm trying to say. I'm saying this thing does a really good job at the stuff that isn't necessary to waste as much time on as we do sometimes. Some people obsess about certain sounds or whatever, and that's part of the finding of the sound in the beginning. I think this is like, let's glue the important stuff down that we know we want based on the song being solidified as a skeleton, and then move forward with more confidence and save a ton of time. So yeah, I think that's a good place to stop this video. It's probably pretty long now, and I think I've shared uh, good enough amounts of information for this stage of things. And we'll see what we decide to move forward with for another video with this thing if we do. And it's brought up all these other avenues, like I said, that we can go so deep down into. I'm sure there's other videos out there that cover them well, so maybe we will stick to this thing. But there's also a couple interesting projects that are coming in the next couple of days that I know I'm going to make videos for. Um, First, I'll share them without the picture that they're being written for, and then if I don't win them or do win them, demoing competitively. If I don't win them or do win them, I'll share them with the video, because that's also cool to see as like a scoring process thing rather than it being just about the writing itself, and another type of genre that will share how we would approach it, from my experience. But yeah, thank you again for watching. This has been fun, and I'm already looking forward to the next one. This is really cool to be able to share this stuff, and I'm learning things that I didn't expect to learn as I'm doing each one of these things also. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great night or day wherever you're at.